Hello, everyone. Welcome back to A1 English Podcast, the podcast that helps you speak English naturally, confidently, and without sounding like a textbook.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jessica.
And I'm Jack.
And today we have a topic that might surprise quite a few of you.
Oh, definitely, because today we're talking about a word that almost every English learner uses, maybe a little too much.
And that word is please.
Yes, please, the magic word, right? The word our parents taught us to say to be polite.
Exactly. But here's the surprising part. Sometimes saying please too much or in the wrong place can actually make you sound a little stiff or even a bit demanding, believe it or not.
Wait, demanding? Please is supposed to be the polite word.
I know, it sounds strange, but stay with us because by the end of this episode, you'll know exactly when to use please, when not to use it, and what to say instead.
Before we go further, quick reminder. If you're enjoying these episodes, please.
See? Sometimes please really is the right word.
True. So please hit that like button and subscribe to A1 English Podcast so you never miss a new episode.
Because every episode here is designed to help you sound more natural, more confident, and more like a real English speaker in real conversations, not just in textbooks.
All right, so today's topic again, stop saying please so much when it sounds wrong in English.
A huge number of English learners, especially people whose first language is very formal or uses one single polite word for everything, end up using please in almost every sentence.
Please give me water. Please tell me the time. Please come here. Please send me the file. Please, please, please.
And in your own language, that might be completely normal and even necessary to sound respectful.
But in English, it can land a bit differently. Sometimes it can even sound like an order with please stuck on top instead of a soft, friendly request.
And that's the confusing part, right? You're trying so hard to be polite, but it doesn't always come across the way you expect.
Exactly. So today, no judgment at all, and definitely no boring grammar rules.
Just real conversations, real examples, and small adjustments that make a big difference.
By the end of this episode, you'll understand exactly how native speakers ask for things politely, sometimes with please, and sometimes without it at all.
And honestly, once you see the pattern, it's much easier than you think.
All right, let's get into it.
Okay, Jack, let me ask you something.
Sure, go ahead.
When you were learning a different language, any language, did you ever feel like one specific word was the polite word and you just used it everywhere?
Oh, all the time. When I was learning Spanish, it was por favor. I used it after literally everything. Deme agua, por favor. Dime la hora, por favor. Everything had por favor attached to it.
Right. And that's exactly what's happening with please for so many English learners.
It becomes a kind of safety word. You're not totally sure how to be polite, so you just add please and you feel safe.
Exactly. And here's the thing. Please itself is not a bad word at all. It's a wonderful word.
The problem isn't the word itself.
It's how, where, and how often it's used.
Let's start with the basics then. In English, politeness doesn't come from just one word. It comes from the whole sentence, the structure, the softness of the verbs, the tone of voice, even where the request sits in the conversation.
So in really simple words, please is like seasoning on food. A little bit makes the dish better. Too much or in the wrong place, and it changes the whole flavor.
I love that comparison.
Thanks. So why do learners get confused about this?
Usually for two main reasons. First, in many languages, there's basically one go-to polite word, and people directly translate that habit into English.
Right, like placing please at the start of every request because that's how the pattern works in their first language.
Exactly. And second, many textbooks teach please as the polite word full stop, without really explaining tone, structure, or how often native speakers actually use it in real conversations.
So learners naturally think more please must mean more polite. But in English, that's not always true. Sometimes fewer uses of please combined with the right sentence structure sound far more polite.
That's a big idea. Let's slow down on this for a second.
Sure. Think of it this way. In English, politeness very often comes from softening the request itself, using words like could, would, do you mind, is it okay if, or I was wondering.
These words create a little distance and choice. They make the request feel like an option for the other person, not a demand.
And please, especially attached to a short, direct command, can sometimes feel like it's just decorating an order without really softening it.
For example, please give me your pen sounds like an instruction. Give me your pen, with please added on top.
But could I borrow your pen, please, is a question from the very beginning. It's already gentle. Please is just a small, extra touch at the end.
Same word, completely different feeling depending on where it sits and what kind of sentence it's attached to.
So just to be clear, we are not saying never use please.
Not at all. We're saying learn where to place it and learn the many other natural phrases that can replace it so your English sounds more relaxed and more native.
We'll go through this using real, everyday conversations, ordering food, talking to coworkers, chatting with friends, even writing quick messages.
Because real situations are always the best teacher.
One more thing before we move on. This isn't about your culture being wrong in any way.
Not at all. Many languages are simply more direct with politeness markers, and that's perfectly natural and respectful in those languages.
We're just adjusting the habit slightly, so it matches how native English speakers usually structure polite requests.
All right, with that in mind, let's get into our first key point. All right, let's talk about our first key point. When please is placed with a direct command, it can sound more like an instruction than a request, especially in personal situations.
This is super important, so let's slow down and really look at it.
Let me give you a real-life example.
Yes, please.
Imagine you're at a coffee shop and you want to order a coffee.
Okay, I'm listening.
A learner might say, "Please give me a coffee."
That sounds quite direct, doesn't it?
It does. It's grammatically correct, and most people would still understand it perfectly, but to a native speaker's ear, it can sound a bit like you're telling the barista what to do, with please added on just to soften it slightly.
So what would a native speaker more naturally say?
Something like, "Could I get a coffee, please?" Or, "Can I have a coffee, please?" Or even just, "A coffee, please," with a friendly tone.
Ah, I see the difference now. Could I get and can I have are already questions. They're polite by their structure before please even enters the sentence.
Exactly. And please at the end becomes a small, friendly finishing touch, not the only thing carrying the politeness.
Let's look at another example to make this even clearer.
Good idea.
Imagine you're at the office and you need a coworker to send you a document.
Okay.
A learner might say, "Please send me the report."
Honestly, in an email, that's actually fairly common, especially in a formal or fast-paced workplace.
But spoken out loud, face to face, it can feel a little blunt.
So what's a more natural spoken version? Could you send me the report when you get a chance? Or would you mind sending over the report? Or even, when you have a minute, could you send me the report, please?
And notice all three start with could, would, or when you have a minute. They give the other person a little space, almost like asking permission rather than handing out an instruction.
That's the key. In spoken English especially, the politeness usually comes before the main request, through the question structure, not only from please.
So here's a simple takeaway. When you want to ask someone for something, try starting with could, can, would you mind, or would it be possible, instead of starting with please plus a command.
And you can absolutely still add please, usually near the end or in the middle, as a little extra polish.
Not complicated at all, right?
Not at all. It's really about word order and choosing softer verbs.
Let's try one more comparison just to lock this in completely.
Sure, go for it.
Imagine you're in a taxi and you want the driver to stop here.
A learner might say, Please stop here.
And actually, that's totally fine, because it's a quick, practical, transactional situation. Short instructions are completely normal with drivers, waiters, cashiers, fast-moving moments.
True, context really does matter a lot. Please stop here to a taxi driver is perfectly natural and very common.
But please give me your phone number to a new colleague you just met. That might sound a bit too direct, even a little forward.
Right. In that case, something like, would it be okay if I got your number so we can stay in touch? Sounds far more natural and respectful.
So the rule isn't never say please with a command.
It's more like in quick, practical, everyday transactions, please plus command works just fine. But for more personal, sensitive, or workplace requests, it's better to soften the question first and let please be the final question first and let please be the final touch, not the whole job.
Perfect summary, Jack.
Let's add just one more layer here because I think it's really useful.
Go for it.
Sometimes, instead of could or would, native speakers use do you think you could, I don't suppose you could, or any chance you could. These sound very casual and friendly, especially with friends or close coworkers.
Oh, I love any chance you could. For example, any chance you could grab me a coffee while you're there?
Exactly. Super casual, super friendly, and no please needed at all, though you could still add it.
Any chance you could pass me my charger, please? Still sounds completely natural.
Right, because please isn't being asked to do all the polite work by itself anymore. It's just adding a little extra warmth on top of an already soft sentence.
Okay, now let's move to our second key point. Repeating please multiple times either in one sentence or again and again throughout a conversation.
Oh, this one is so common.
It really is. Some learners use please almost like a comma at the start, in the middle, and at the end of the very same sentence.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Please. Can you please help me? Please.
Okay, that's 3 pleases in a single sentence.
And honestly, when please repeats like that, it can actually make the speaker sound less confident, almost like they're begging or feeling a bit desperate, rather than simply calmly asking.
That's such an important point. In English, one well-placed please is usually enough, and sometimes none at all is even better.
Let's make this practical. Imagine you're asking your manager for a day off.
Okay, set the scene.
A learner might say, please, I really need a day off, please. Can you please approve it?
Wow, even though the person clearly just wants to sound polite, that does come across as a little stressed, doesn't it?
It does. So what's a calmer, more confident way to say it?
Something like, would it be possible for me to take a day off next week? I'd really appreciate it.
And notice, there's no please in that sentence at all, but it sounds incredibly polite and very professional.
Exactly, because the politeness comes from would it be possible and I'd really appreciate it. These phrases already carry respect all on their own.
This is such a useful idea. There are so many polite phrases in English that don't need please at all.
Let's go through a few, because I think this will genuinely help everyone listening.
Great idea. Number 1, would you mind? For example, would you mind closing the window? It's a bit cold in here.
Number 2, do you think you could, for example, do you think you could send that file over today?
Number 3, I was wondering if you could, for example, I was wondering if you could help me fill out this form.
Number 4, is it okay if I, for example, is it okay if I leave a little early today?
And number 5, I'd really appreciate it if you, for example, I'd really appreciate it if you could call me back when you're free.
None of these have please in them, and yet all of them sound warm, polite, and completely natural.
Now here's a common mistake connected to this.
Oh, let's talk about it. These are always helpful.
People often combine one of these phrases with please and repeat please again at the end. Something like, please, would you mind please closing the window, please?
And the problem with that is it sounds repetitive, almost nervous, like the speaker doesn't fully trust that the polite phrase alone is enough.
So instead, we should choose just one approach. Either, would you mind closing the window? Clean, complete, polite on its own. Or, if you really want to add please, Would you mind closing the window, please? One please at the end. That's it.
Much better.
Let's practice together. Fill in the blank. You want to ask a stranger on the street for directions. How would you start?
Everyone listening, pause for a second here. How would you say it?
Here's one strong option. Excuse me, could you tell me how to get to the train station, please?
Did your answer sound similar? If yes, amazing. And if not, don't worry at all. That's exactly why we're here.
Notice the structure. Excuse me gets their attention politely. Could you tell me is the soft question, and please sits right at the very end as a final friendly touch.
One please in exactly the right place.
And that one combination, get attention politely, ask with could or would, and add please at the end, works in almost every situation you can imagine.
Let's try one more just for extra practice. Imagine you're asking a friend to lower the volume of their music because you're trying to study.
A direct version might be, please turn down the music.
Which is fine between close friends, honestly. But a slightly softer version could be, hey, would you mind turning the music down a bit? I'm trying to focus on something.
And notice, hey makes it casual and friendly. Would you mind softens the request, and there's no please at all, yet it still feels kind and respectful.
It really is a simple formula once you start noticing it in conversations around you.
Honestly, once you train your ear for this, you'll start hearing it everywhere. In movies, in shows, in everyday conversations.
All right, Jessica, let's talk about the specific mistakes people often make with please.
Yes, because mistakes are actually some of our best teachers.
Mistake number 1, using please as a direct translation in almost every request, which turns a normal conversation into a list of commands.
Oh, I hear this all the time. Something like, please open the door, please turn on the light, please bring me some water, please call him.
Each sentence on its own might be perfectly fine in certain situations, but said one after another like that, it can sound like the speaker is giving a list of orders just with please attached to each one.
The fix is simple. Vary your structure. Mix in, could you? Would you mind? Do you think you could? And save please plus command for quick, simple, casual moments.
For example, could you open the door for me? And while you're up, would you mind turning on the light too? Oh, and grab me some water if you don't mind, please.
See how that flows like a real conversation rather than a checklist of instructions?
Mistake number 2, using please as a response to thank you.
Oh, this one is tricky.
Here's the scenario. Someone says, thank you so much for your help, and the learner replies, please.
And in English, that genuinely sounds confusing because please isn't used to respond to thanks at all. The listener might even pause and think, please what exactly?
Exactly. In several languages, one single word covers both please and a polite response to thank you. But in English, these are two completely different words with two completely different jobs.
So what should we say instead?
You're welcome. No problem at all. Of course. Anytime. It was my pleasure. Don't worry about it. Any of these work perfectly as a response to thank you.
So if someone says, thank you so much for waiting for me, you could simply say, of course, no problem at all.
Exactly. Much clearer and very, very natural.
Mistake number 3, using please with a tone that doesn't actually match the word.
Many learners assume that please automatically makes everything sound polite no matter how it's said, but tone changes absolutely everything.
For example, imagine someone says, please just listen to me, spoken slowly with a frustrated tone and a pause between each word.
In that case, please doesn't sound polite at all. It sounds annoyed, almost like a warning or the end of someone's patience.
To keep please sounding polite, it usually works best said smoothly, in a relaxed, friendly tone, almost as if you're smiling while you say it.
Could you please pass the salt? Said in a relaxed, easy tone, sounds like a completely normal, kind request between people sharing a meal.
But the exact same word said sharply and quickly with tension in the voice can suddenly sound like a complaint or even a warning.
So remember, the word please doesn't carry all the meaning by itself. Your tone, your pace, and even your facial expression matter just as much, sometimes even more.
And here's a small bonus mistake, especially for anyone who writes emails in English.
Oh yes, this one is very common too.
Some learners start almost every paragraph of an email with please. Please find attached the document. Please let me know if you have questions. Please confirm by Friday. Please don't hesitate to contact me.
Individually, every one of those sentences is correct, but together, the email can start to feel quite stiff, almost like a list of formal instructions rather than a message from one person to another.
A simple fix is to vary the openings. For example, I've attached the document for your review. Let me know if anything is unclear. It would be great to have your confirmation by Friday. Feel free to reach out anytime.
Same level of politeness, same respect, but it reads like a real person wrote it, not a form letter.
Now, if you've made any of these mistakes before, please don't panic.
Nice use of please there, by the way.
Thank you. Even native speakers occasionally get their tone wrong or repeat words without noticing.
The important thing is simply to notice these patterns over time and gently adjust.
Silence is always worse than a slightly awkward sentence.
Absolutely. Keep speaking, keep noticing, keep adjusting. Okay, let's bring everything together with one full, real-life scenario.
Yes, let's make this really practical. Imagine you're at a restaurant with a friend. You're going to order food, ask for something extra during the meal, and then ask for the bill at the end.
A perfect example. This happens to all of us, all the time.
First, when the waiter comes to take your order, instead of saying, "Please give me a chicken sandwich," you could say, "Could I get the chicken sandwich, please?" Or simply, "I'll have the chicken sandwich, please," with a friendly smile.
Then, halfway through the meal, you realize you need more water. Instead of, "Please bring water," you could say, "Excuse me, could we get a bit more water, please?" Or, "Would it be possible to get some more water when you have a moment?"
And finally, at the end of the meal, instead of "Please give me the bill," you could say, "Could we get the bill, please?" Or, "Whenever you're ready, could we have the check?"
See how natural that sounds? Each request uses a soft question structure. Could, would it be possible, and please, when it's used, sits naturally at the end, used only once.
This is real, everyday English, not textbook English.
Let's try one more scenario, this time at work. Imagine you need to ask a coworker to cover your shift tomorrow,
A direct version might be, "Please cover my shift tomorrow."
which is understandable but a little blunt, especially if it's not part of their normal job.
A softer, more natural version could be, "Hey, I have a bit of an emergency tomorrow. Any chance you could cover my shift? I'd really owe you one."
And notice, "hey" makes it friendly. "Any chance you could" softens the request. "I'd really owe you one" shows appreciation. And again, no please needed, though it still works perfectly well if you'd like to add it at the end.
Now, everyone listening, here's something for you to try at home.
Think of a request you make often, at work, at home, with friends, or even online, like in a message or an email.
Maybe it's asking a friend to lend you something, asking a coworker for help, or asking a family member to pass you something at dinner.
Take that request, and instead of starting with please, try starting with could you, would you mind, do you think you could, or any chance you could.
Then, if you'd like, add please once at the end as a final friendly touch.
Say your new sentence out loud, even if you're completely alone right now listening to this.
Practice really does build confidence, and these small changes can make a surprisingly big difference in how natural and relaxed you sound.
And remember, if you slip back into old habits sometimes and say please a little too much, that's completely okay.
It's not a big mistake at all. It's simply a chance to notice it, smile, and gently try again next time.
Exactly. Progress, not perfection. That's always the goal here. All right, let's quickly review everything we covered today.
First, we talked about how please, combined with a direct command, can sometimes sound more like an instruction than a request, especially in personal or workplace situations.
And how starting with could, would, or would you mind softens the sentence naturally right from the beginning, right?
We then explored how repeating please multiple times in one sentence can actually make a speaker sound less confident, and how one well-placed please, often at the very end, is usually more than enough.
We also looked at common mistakes, using please in nearly every sentence without any variety, using please as a response to thank you instead of you're welcome or no problem, forgetting that tone matters just as much as word choice, and starting too many email paragraphs with please.
And most importantly, we practiced applying all of this in 2 real everyday situations: ordering food at a restaurant and asking a coworker for a favor at work.
Remember, you really don't need to be perfect.
You just need to be confident, curious, and willing to try a slightly different phrase next time.
English is a tool for connection, not a test that you're trying to pass.
So speak, make mistakes, learn, adjust, and keep going, one conversation at a time.
That's the journey, and we're genuinely glad to be part of it with you.
If this episode helped you understand please a little better and feel more confident asking for things in English,
Please hit that like button.
see, sometimes please really is exactly the right word.
And if you'd like more episodes like this, real conversations, real English, real confidence, subscribe to A1 English Podcast.
We're here regularly, helping you sound more natural, one episode at a time.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us today.
Keep practicing, keep listening, and keep speaking. You're doing better than you think. Bye, everyone. See you in the next episode.
Take care, and we'll catch you next time.